Hi everyone, welcome back to our channel. This is Clara.
And this is Denise. And today we're going to be talking about accused murderer and children's book author
Kouri Richins.
I don't know why the media is calling her a children's book author when she literally only wrote one book.
I think it's just to grab people's attention. Because if you make it more dramatic and say it's an author, then people are more...
They're like, who? Who did it?
Yeah, like what
Which
author? Yeah.
Kouri Richins is a Utah woman. She is pretty much well educated. From what I heard and read is that she had a bachelor's degree in health administration and a master's in human resources. So homegirl got that degree. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Educated and smart then. Kouri Richins is being accused of murder for killing her husband, Eric Richins, who she shared 3 kids with.
Her husband, Eric, he owns a masonry business.
So what is what is masonry?
Masonry it's where you build brick walls or kind of anything with brick, like outside your house or, maybe even in your house. Like if you do something with tile, they kind of specialize in like stonework.
Okay, because I had thought it was like mason jar related. I mean, I was like masonry. I'm like, it's probably mason something.
Yeah.
Like producing mason
jars. So you
jars?
thought Kourtney Kardashian named her kid after a mason jar?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah. She liked mason jars so much.
Yeah, that's where she puts her overnight oats. So Eric was also married once before, and he actually had gone through a pretty ugly divorce. So his mom kind of gave him the advice that if he's getting married again, he should do a prenup because, maybe the last one was so ugly. She was trying to get all his assets and everything. So she was like, not with this one.
And I think because he was actually very successful, I feel like it was a smart idea to get a prenup. It wasn't just his money from his personal account. It was like his business money too. So the prenup that they had stated that Kouri Richins wouldn't receive anything if they got divorced, but if he died, she would receive everything.
Right. That would mean that, the divorce is like a mutual agreement between them being like, we don't want to be together anymore. The death is more of like, if he died suddenly, then she would get his assets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to support herself or, the kids and all that.
So then it makes sense that she's being accused of murder because, he had to die for her to get everything.
Right. For her, he was more valuable dead than if they just got a divorce. And it's one of those questions where people are like, well, if she don't want to be with him, how come she just didn't divorce him, right? But then it's like, because this woman is calculated and she knows she's not going to get money if they get divorced. So that's why she decided to kill him. From some of the stories that we've seen, Kouri and Eric, they met at the Home Depot. She was a cashier. Obviously, he owned his business. So she would, check him out. Check him out as in like, and check him out.
I know, I was like, wait, what? Check him out?
I mean, I guess if you're trying to meet guys, work at the Home Depot, right?
Uh-huh.
Because that's kind of the target audience for that store.
Actually, not even just like meet men. I think it's also meet business owners. Right?
Yeah.
Because if you own a business, you're going to go to Home Depot, or maybe you'll send someone or something, but you're going to go to Home Depot.
You have a higher chance of getting a man at Home Depot than you would if you worked at Target.
That's true.
Or at Ulta,
I didn't know that. I'm going to tell my single friends to go work at Home Depot.
Yup. Eric and Kouri always had this picture of them being like a happy family. I think everyone around them thought like, oh, look at them. They're so happy. They have 3 kids. They go on vacation. They live in a nice house. He has a business. And she got into real estate. So, they seem like the successful American family.
Mm-hmm. Like made it, have a happy life.
Yeah. But see, that's kind of where you should be reminded that all appearances are not what they seem, right? Because they seem happy and there was stuff going on behind the scenes, but on social media, their neighbors, their friends, they all thought everything was okay. So don't always feel bad about my life isn't going perfect, because no one's life is perfect.
For sure. Eric and Kouri had gone to Greece back in 2020. He suspected that she had tried to poison him.
Right. Yes. He had called his sister to tell her, I think Kouri's trying to poison me. So how do you stay with someone who tried to do that to you? Or
I was going to say the exact same thing. I mean, because he passed away in 2022 and that's 2 years later. So he was still with her for 2 years more.
it could be that he was trying to stay in that marriage for the kids, you know?
Or maybe he thought that maybe he just was wrong about that.
He wanted to be wrong.
Yeah.
He's like, I think it could be her, but maybe
it was
not.
just
Maybe it's just right.
Speaking of the sister, her name is Kouri Richins Benson, by the way. He actually was close to her enough to make her a full beneficiary of his life insurance.
Yeah, I think he really did trust his sister. I mean, his sister was his confidant, basically. She's the one that he reached out to when he was suspecting that Kouri was trying to kill him, you know? So then the sister, she must have known all the stuff, the shady stuff that Kouri was doing, right?
Mm-hmm. I'm sure she did.
Yeah, and so speaking of Kouri being shady, from what I read is that she became a real estate agent, and she was actually selling high-end homes. She was closing on good deals, and I believe a couple was suing her for not disclosing everything that was wrong with the house.
And so, see, I don't know if the state that she was at allows for that to be a reason to sue. I know I had a similar situation where I felt like my real estate agent wasn't honest about the issues with like the home. I don't know if that's something you can actually sue for. Maybe it just depends on like the state that they were in. So Kouri was doing a lot of shady things that affected Eric's money. So she actually had made herself the full beneficiary for his business without him knowing.
I think the way that the whole beneficiary thing was set up was that if something happened to Eric, they'd be able to pay his half of the business, so she wouldn't have to worry about those expenses. But then she did that shady thing where she put herself as the full beneficiary without them knowing, and when the business partner found out, he went to Eric and was like, yo, your wife is over here putting herself as a full beneficiary. And he's like, what? I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
I think the interaction went something like that. I didn't know that.
It must have gone like that.
Yeah, I think so. And so right away they decided to change it back to them and leave her out of it. Eric had even said to, I don't know who it is, the beneficiary people, their customer service team, I don't know. But basically saying like, don't change stuff without my permission.
And so that wasn't the only thing that she had done. She had actually, before his death, she had stolen money from his business account, like hundreds of thousands. She also took his credit cards and spent like over 30,000. She also,
this was while he was still alive, right?
She had also taken out like 4 life insurances for him without him knowing. So that was, this lady was really,
she was getting that bag.
Yeah, she was setting her up.
Wow. So now, I mean, people are probably asking like, why did she do it? Obviously, this is like so obvious. It's just, money signs.
Yes, everything was money related.
For her, yeah.
I'm surprised because she was actually doing well for herself in her real estate business. So you could just tell that it was just greediness.
That's true.
Because she wanted not only her money, she wanted his money and everything else that came like with his money.
There was an age difference between them too. She's 33 and he was 39. So I think Kouri just wasn't happy in the marriage anymore. She probably wanted out, but obviously she was already accustomed to that lifestyle, and her husband basically paying for everything. I mean, she was in real estate, but was she a successful real estate agent? I don't know.
Or maybe she just wasn't making as much as she saw that he was making, and she wanted his too. He wanted his money too.
Yeah, she was probably thinking that real estate was going to be an easy business for her to get into and make all this money. And then she probably saw the hard work that she had to do. And she's probably like, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. There was a house she wanted to buy that was really expensive. I think it was $3.5 million. And her husband had said no, not to buy it, because what she wanted to do is flip it. You know how you see all these TV shows and things going on now where like people flip houses? She wanted to make money from it, but he thought it was too risky and didn't want to do it. I mean, $3.5 million.
I did hear that actually, and I had seen that it was like a 9-bedroom home.
Wow.
It was like a few acres big, and it had like 12 restrooms. It was a ginormous house. I think after her doing all these sneaky things behind his back, it makes sense that he would say no. Especially because this house was ginormous, and it was only 4 of them, right? Or wait.
I don't think she wanted to buy the house for them, though. She wanted to buy it, flip it, and then resell it.
So a little before Valentine's Day in 2022, she had bought some drugs off of a dealer, and she had laced his sandwich, Eric's sandwich, with this drug.
A Valentine's Day sandwich. Oh, yeah. Valentine's Day sandwich. It's Valentine's Day, and you were making him a sandwich. I would have been making like a steak dinner. But well, I mean, her intentions were not good, so I guess a sandwich will do.
Yes. So when he did not die from this sandwich that she had laced with these drugs,
he just got sick of it, right? But did not die.
Yeah. Like he just got sick. I think he just felt ill. And so then, since it didn't work, he didn't die. She ended up, talking to the dealer again. And she was like, okay, I want that Michael Jackson stuff. So, like, some stronger stuff that actually works.
Damn.
So, a month later, after the Valentine's Day sandwich, in March 2022, which she's been accused of poisoning him with, like, that fent stuff, which he ended up dying, right? So, that was March 3rd of last year. And then once that happened, she actually signed for that house that he didn't want to sign for. And right after, the day after, she had a big party in this big house.
I know. You know what I'm thinking? Like, when people were at that party, they weren't asking like, oh, where's Eric?
Or yeah, that's kind of weird.
Like, oh, where's your husband? Like, don't you want to celebrate this with him? There have been reports where they don't know if the people at the party didn't know if he was dead. So that is very unclear. I'm sure that in the trial, this stuff's going to come out. I mean, how evil could you be to, like, kill your husband and then literally have a party the day after? This kind of reminds me of, like, the OJ thing. I mean, obviously, he didn't have a party the day after, but when he got out of jail, he partied, like, right away. And they were like, aren't you sad that your ex-wife is dead? Sociopaths don't feel the same way that others do.
I feel like maybe they just don't care. Like, she didn't care. She just cared about getting his money and not getting caught for what she did.
What happened on the night that she murdered him, according to reports and things like that, is that she made him a Moscow Mule. And like you said, she laced it with the fence stuff. So then she went to her son's bedroom to accompany him that night because he was having like night terrors, nightmares, and she left her phone somewhere else, didn't look at her phone. This is what she's saying. She didn't look at her phone. And around 3 a.m, she decided to go back to bed with her husband, but she had already found him cold. And so when she called the paramedics or 911, she said that she had done CPR, but paramedics think that that wasn't really possible because he had blood in his mouth. So she probably would have had blood in his mouth if she was trying to give him CPR. And that they found him at the foot of the bed. So it wasn't him asleep position like, when you tucked yourself into bed. It wasn't like that. It was like in a weird position.
That right there was suspicious to investigators because initially they saw that, she obviously didn't give him CPR. and his body was positioned in a way that it shouldn't have been.
Yes, exactly. So I don't know if people around her were already suspicious of her being the murderer, but I think from what I know, the sister hired a private investigator, right? And I know police was secretly investigating her, of course.
It would make sense that the sister would feel suspicious about her because he had mentioned, remember before Eric died, he had mentioned that he felt like his wife was trying to poison him. So if my brother was in a situation where he told me that his wife was trying to poison him, I would investigate her too. Like, she probably did it.
Yeah, I'll be giving her the side eye like, girl, you think I don't see you?
A few days after this big party that she had in this big house, Kouri was actually trying to drill into Eric's safe, where he actually had allegedly hundreds of thousands of dollars. So she was trying to get a locksmith to drill into the safe so she could take that money out. And so the sister, Katie, was there. She was accosting Kouri, and obviously she was suspicious of her. So Kouri actually punched Katie in this confrontation.
Oh.
So, I mean, things were getting heated, and
She was like, out of my way.
Kouri was doing everything she could to try to get Eric's money. I mean, everything in the safe, everything in life insurance, trying to sue for the fact that the sister was the trustee of his assets.
Kouri was just trying to capitalize on as much as she could with the husband and his death, because I mean, she wrote that book, right? The children's book. The children's book was to help kids who lost a parent to cope with the grief.
I think that's like someone who's really narcissistic. And to think that you're gonna try to steal your husband's money, you're gonna try to do all these things to change his assets to your name, and then still write a book about it and still think that you're not looking suspicious is appalling to me.
She went to some Utah talk show to promote her book, and a month later is when she got arrested for it. You know what I noticed in her interview at the Utah talk show? She says, "You know a lot." That was us on our first video.
So this book that she wrote was called Are You With Me? And so this book was about, dealing with grief for kids. And so to pretty much reassure a child that even though a parent might pass away, their presence is still there with you.
Which actually sounds kind of sweet.
It does sound kind of nice, but then if you look at the background of everything that
Right,
she did.
it's so dark. May 8th of 2023, this year, is when she got arrested. Was literally a month after she was on TV, making her sob story, saying that, she's grieving and her kids are grieving, which is so sad for the kids that one parent is the one who killed the other parent and now they don't have both parents.
And I think there's just so much controversy about her because of the fact that she was over here promoting this book about grief, but then little did everybody know was that this author was like over here the person that killed her husband and poisoned him, a few times before he even died.
So I guess we'll see on her court date to see what she says, like what are her reasons, or I mean, we're already talked about the whys. Like, why do we think that she did it? Definitely greed. Her motivation for this was money.
I think the big thing is knowing what her defense is gonna say as to what actually happened or why she did it. Or I mean, I was even thinking like, will they say that she was like insane? There's no good defense for this after everything that she has done and the history and the evidence that there already is against her.
Yeah, I think they had mentioned in some reports that they were going to try to make it seem like he overdosed because he has a pill problem. He had a pill problem when he was in high school. So they're going to try to make it seem like, oh no, he bought them. Or she's probably going to say that he made her buy this Michael Jackson stuff because he had problems and was telling her to basically enable it. And so that's kind of what they think that they're going to bring up.
You know what? Actually, I did hear that a little bit. And I was thinking automatically that I really hope that the prosecution presents like a stronger case than the defense for that. Because with all the evidence that we already know about, you know it was greed.
His family said we never heard of him having a problem in high school with pills. She's just making this up.
We are going to be following the case just like we have this far and see when there's a next court hearing. The next court hearing or detention hearing actually is this week. And that detention hearing is where the judge determines if they should detain Kouri with bail or not, or set the amount of the bail.
And that's pretty much it, right? I don't think they make her do like a plea or anything.
No,
like
I don't
that.
think so. No, it's just to see if they should set a bill for her to be able to get out or pay it or not.
Right. I think there with court, there's just so many dates. Like we're gonna do this and we're gonna do that and da da da. The trial's probably gonna be like 2 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you so much for tuning into this video. Please subscribe, like, comment, share.
Let us know what other cases you guys want us to talk about in the comments below.
And we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.